Good morning and welcome to Houston Newsmakers, and welcome to Peter Herrick Jr., who is a spokesperson for the Federal Emergency Management Agency, otherwise known as FEMA. Thank you for being here. We've got a lot to talk about, but before we get into it, there's a lot of questions I know many people are going to want to ask about what FEMA is doing or can do. But first, I want to put up two very important pieces of information. The website for FEMA, which is disasterassistance.gov. Peter will talk more in detail about what kind of information you'll be able to find there. And for those without a computer, the number to call, 800-621-FEMA. That's 800-621-3362. We hear about FEMA all the time in times of disaster. Usually we're watching FEMA in some faraway place, but because of Harvey, now we're here. The question is, who typically is eligible for FEMA assistance, and is it too late to apply?
So the short answer is no. It's not still too late to apply. Our application period is open for about 60 days, and I want to say we're on like day 25, 30 right now. Right. So we've still got about a month left. And we're going to make sure that as we start approaching that deadline, we're going to be hammering out information. Deadline's approaching. Make sure you apply. As for people that are eligible, it's anyone that sustained damage as a result of Harvey in any of the 39 eligible counties. And you'll bear with me if I don't repeat them all.
Yeah, absolutely.
You can go to our website and find out where all of those counties are. But if you sustained damage, you incurred medical or dental bills, your car was damaged, that sort of stuff, we may be able to help. So please register.
So if you want to find out, how easy is it on your website? You go and you type in what your zip code, or how does that work?
So you can actually go to FEMA.gov/disaster/4332, and I'll repeat it at the end. But you can look under eligible areas, and it will list all of the counties that are eligible. And again, that's FEMA.gov/disaster/4332. Okay,
so what's the difference between FEMA help and the kind of help you get from the state? If I'm trying to figure out where I can get help, how do I distinguish between the eligibility for those kinds of things?
So on the FEMA side of the house, you apply to us and we can help with damage to your home if you're the homeowner. Obviously, if you're a renter, the landlord's going to deal with that. We can help with the contents of the home, clothing, appliances, furniture, utilities, stuff like that. Your car was damaged, we can help with medical and dental bills. We can help with disaster unemployment. And so those are all FEMA programs. And Texas is managing some of those programs for us, which is why you're going to hear about some assistance from the state. They're handling what are known as our Other Needs Assistance Program, and that's the clothing, the damage to the stuff inside the house.
Okay.
But you also have to go to the Texas Workforce Commission to apply for disaster unemployment. Again, those are FEMA programs that the state's managing, because there are state and local laws that apply that we're not nuanced in, that they're better equipped to handle.
So debris removal has been in the news a lot lately. That's something that individuals are concerned about, but cities kind of involved, and you've given a check to the city. So I, as an individual, don't need to worry about that, correct?
Nope. No, so we have, we talk a lot about our individual assistance program because that's what survivors are interested in. That's the resources that they need. But we also have a public assistance program, which can be confusing for people because they're part of the public. But it really is assistance to state and local governments and nonprofits to help with a lot of things. Categories like emergency protective measures, and there's a lot of things to go into that were happening when the storm was happening. And then there's things like debris clearance and utility repair and infrastructure repair and stuff like that. And so the state and local governments know how to apply for that process. We will reimburse them, but ultimately they're the ones that still go out and fix those things, pick up that debris and all that sort of stuff.
There are some nuances as well, I understand. So if I've got a job and my job is closed because of the storm, there's a difference between my eligibility for that or if my job is still operating, but I can't get there, there's a difference, is there not?
Yeah, so again, you've got to go through the Texas Workforce Commission to apply for that program. But if you couldn't get to work as a direct result of the storm because you evacuated, the roads were flooded, the business was closed or flooded, we can help with that sort of stuff. But if there's something where you're still away for a period of time, that's something that you're going to have to work through the Texas Workforce Commission on.
Now, if I'm going to need money to get my place repaired, so if I'm there, are there some caps on that? I put in the application, I say, okay, this is the damage I've gotten. What kind of caps are there on the kind of money that I might be able to get from FEMA for that kind of repair?
Yeah, so all of the FEMA assistance is a grant, which is nice. It means you don't have to pay it back. The downside to that is there is a cap, and that cap for this disaster is $33,300, and that's not unique to Texas. That's what it is for the year, and it's tied to the consumer price index, and economists can explain that sort of stuff. I can't. But so that's the maximum amount that we can provide. It's part of why we partner with the Small Business Administration, and don't get confused by the business in their name. They can help individuals with low interest disaster loans, because if you didn't have enough insurance or you didn't have insurance at all, our assistance probably isn't going to be the end all be all for you.
Sure.
And so you're going to need to look for additional assistance. The SBA may be able to help you with that.
So that's the combination of things where the FEMA will give you a grant where you don't have to pay it back, but the SBA could give you a low interest loan that could also help create some room really to try to make sure you can get that taken care of.
Exactly.
What about renters? I know you said the landlord's responsible. How about some of the contents? Would FEMA be able to help me with that as opposed to waiting on?
Yeah, so the landlord's responsible for the building. Not surprising. Any damage they would already be responsible for. But the contents we can absolutely help renters with. And so clothing, furniture, stuff that you would take with you if you move out, we may be able to help with that. So register with us. The
challenge seems to me that there's, how about a clearinghouse? I mean, I as an individual, okay, FEMA, state, is there any one main place, or is just kind of you got to take responsibility and go to those different places?
So I think that's the right way to put it. You know, survivors have to take responsibility for their own recovery. There's a lot of organizations here to help, and we're trying to make it as simple as possible. At the end of the day, we're still the government. So when you register with FEMA, that starts your application with the SBA. It starts your assistance on that other needs assistance program that I talked about. You know, for disaster unemployment, you're going to have to go and do a separate application with the Texas Workforce Commission. If you have an insurance policy, you're going to have to file your claim with your insurance company, all that sort of stuff. And so we're trying to make the federal side of it as clean as we can, but people ultimately need to be responsible for that and take that on and make sure that they're reaching out. And so when they register with us, we're going to try and connect them to all of those other organizations to try and make sure they know what types of assistance are out there and how we can connect them and how they should register with those groups.
For somebody who doesn't have flood insurance, $30,000, $33,000 is not going to really do it for them. So that's why the SBA might be helpful, or some sort of no loan or low interest kind of rate.
Yeah. And so, I mean, we're constantly encouraging people to have flood insurance, even if they're not in a high-risk area. And if you're not in a high-risk area, those premiums can be as low as about $400 a year. And so it's a huge portion of it. You know, we have our limits under law, and so there's a gap there. And insurance is a huge part of that if you have it. If not, the SBA may be able to help with it.
What do you tell people in terms of the patience they need to have for how long this process might take?
I tell them, you know, exactly that. Be patient. We understand it's a long process. We're trying to bring in a lot more people to speed up the process. But so far, we have over 780,000 people that have applied in Texas, and we've completed, I think, about 240,000 inspections. And so you look at those, and those are two very large numbers. But then you look at the gap there, and there is a very large gap. And so as people are registering now, the wait time for an inspector is going to be about 30 days. And we're trying to speed up that process. But, you know, we need to treat each case individually and give it the attention that it deserves. And so one of the things that we tell people is, as you're waiting, document the damage, but then start cleaning up. Don't wait for that inspector to come out. You know, we know how quickly mold will grow.
I thank you for coming in. A lot of people have been wanting to know some of the answers. Thank you for coming in, setting the record straight, and to help people get on the right path, at least getting help from the federal government at any rate. All right, for those of you with damage to your homes and